I like this one because I'm doing it. Are you wearing merch or living proof? Hey, listen, I do like my shirt. It's cool. 365 here, befriend missions. Come on, that's pretty slick. You know, I noticed that there's been a major decrease in people wearing church bumper stickers on their vehicle. And y'all know why. It's because you drive just as crazy as everybody else. And when you're cutting that person off and they're calling you everything but your Christian name, you don't want to see the church that you're affiliated with, right? You don't want them to see it. I do see a huge uptick in the way that we wear our shirts and all that stuff, and I'm not against that. But you know, the Pharisees were identifying that they were part of the in crowd by making a big public spectacle of how they would wash their hands. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but they would make sure that their big basins were visible for everyone to see. And when they would scoop in to make sure that they were clean with their hands, they would do an extra job to present to everybody, look how clean they are. It was identification because you saw the way that they were doing something particularly meant that they were religious. And I know today that if we wear our Christian t-shirts and wear our Christian bands around our wrist and listen to our Christian music, all of a sudden what we have is an identification that we're with the church, but it's not necessarily how we talk or how we act or how we present ourselves. And that's where the problem lies. Are you wearing merch or are you living proof? You find it interesting that Jesus never gave an outward thing to do for the church to be identified as the church, in the sense of what they would wear. In other words, the Christian fish that came so known as how Christians would identify themselves to one another in the times of trouble and hardship for the church, that didn't come out because Matthew 24 said, draw a fish so they'll know that you're my followers. Right? Jesus never gave a style to adhere to so that people would say, oh, look, there goes a Christian. Look at how he's wearing his shoes, you know. Jesus said they're going to know you by the way that you love one another. They're going to know you. They're going to know that you're disciples by the fruit that you produce. So stop producing thorns. Produce figs, right? Fruit. And that comes out of our actions. People should recognize in the way that we act that we are Christian, not just in the things that we wear. Again, down to, can you imagine a little bag that they would be bringing into the synagogue or into the temple that just had like a flake of mint and a little douse of cumin? I mean, they were so particular about making sure that 10% was there. And again, Jesus says that's good, just don't neglect the weightier matters. As they would do this 10th, it wouldn't really benefit anybody. The whole point of the giving in the synagogue was so that it could be redistributed to the poor, so that the poor could have something, even though they had nothing. And at the temple, it was a little bit different. But when it came to their giving, they were walking around with these little bags of, a flake here and some powder there, and people will go, oh, I get it, you're one of those. And I wonder if we just have a little saying here, or maybe a little flake here. People say, oh, there's a Christian. In my day, I know it was the WWJD. That was the big thing. Man, I used to laugh at how many people, listen, y'all need to understand, I grew up in Christian school. I don't even have enough time to preach about that. I'm very thankful for it, but you do get exposed to some very interesting things in Christian school. And I know a lot of folks that I used to run with that were everything but Christian, but you better believe they were the first ones to put on their WWJD bracelets. I'm pretty sure that was either Josh or Joe or somebody but Jesus, because they certainly weren't caring what would Jesus do. Might have been whatever the other J guy was, but it certainly wasn't Jesus.